who's really good at building wealth? Who's really good at making money? Aren't banks really good at making money? Banks lend money with security. They do not invest with risk like we're taught to do. You've been putting in a lot of time and effort and work. You're working really hard. You're making good money. You're keeping up with your financial obligations. Yeah, you're making some progress and putting some money away. But as hard as you're working, gosh, you just don't feel like you're getting ahead as quickly as you would hope. Or maybe you're not where you want to be financially, or maybe you're doing great, but you still feel like something's missing and you could be doing better. So there's some problem out there in the financial world. We just can't put our finger on it. Hi, my name is Vern McCarty. I'm a member of the Ascendant financial team. I'm an authorized infinite banking practitioner through the Nelson Nash Institute, and I work with good people just like you every single day, coaching them to implement a process called becoming your own banker, the infinite banking concept, founded and pioneered by this gentleman, R. Nelson Nash. I'll make sure that I put a link in the post description below so that you can get a copy of that book, because if you're considering this process and you want to increase your family's wealth and peace of mind, that's a great tool. The best place to start is learning from the master himself, Nelson Nash. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the real way to get rich. And you know what? Stick around to the end, because you might find out that it's a little bit simpler than you might have thought. We're always hearing about all these different strategies and investments, and not taking anything away from RSPs and mutual funds and stocks and Bay Street and Wall Street and cryptocurrencies and real estate investing and private lending and Smith maneuvers. And we hear all of these terms and strategies and buzzwords, and all of them have validity. All of them have their own place. All of them solve some sort of an objective. Our biggest challenge is the paradox of choice. Where do I go? What do I do? How do I start? And there's something that's very interesting to me that no one's ever really talking about this. The financial advisor, the general person out there talking about all these strategies and ideas. Everything that we do financially today starts with the foundation of the banking process. So the process of becoming your own banker, and anything that we do in life really starts with how we think. Okay, so we want to just slow down for a minute, keep things really simple, and let's think about banking for a moment. Whether you're buying an investment, if you're eliminating debt, heck, if you're saving money, if you're paying a bill, it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing financially today. Money just has to flow from a reliable source in a relatively short period of time to another source to solve that objective. Okay, so you're earning income. Money's going into someone else's bank. It's capitalizing their bank and building profit for that bank. We know it's not doing anything for you. So that's piece number one. You're doing all the work. Someone else is getting all the money. And that money's being put to work for the owners of that bank and not you and your family. But then you need to solve an objective. And that let's just say it was buying groceries. You go to the grocery store, you fill up the grocery cart, you tap your card or you put your code in or whatever, and that money electronically transfers to somebody else's bank or someone else's account or whatever. That's the process of banking. And someone else is controlling that function as it relates to your needs right now. Now, let's take financing as an example. Now, it doesn't matter if you're financing things with your own cash, piling up that money again in someone else's bank. You're making payments really to that bank. You're going to access all that money. You're going to go solve the objective. Let's just say a car, for example. You're going to send all that money now that you worked hard for, one balloon payment to a dealership. You have the car, they have all your money. That money's no longer working for you and your family. Now you have to go work real hard and pile up money again in someone else's bank. Sounds a lot like a payment, doesn't it? So we're not really avoiding payments. We have to make money, pay money back to that bank so we can pile it up for our next major expense. And we're not really avoiding interest either, because you're either paying up interest to somebody else because you had to tap into their pool of money, or you're giving up the interest you otherwise could have earned on your own money if you left it in some sort of an interest-bearing account. So we're not really getting rid of the interest. We're merely not seeing the interest we're giving up. We're not paying interest necessarily, but we're not seeing the interest we're giving up. And we're not avoiding payments either, because we got to make payments back to someone else's bank. So that's a function of financing. You're always using borrowed money. You're either paying interest or giving up interest, and you're never going to avoid the payment. The payment has to be deposited in someone's bank. So that's something just for you to think about. That's the banking process. Now let's assume you go the traditional route again, to finance a vehicle, you go and borrow money from someone else's bank. You're going to make a payment back to that finance company on their terms, principal, interest, all those good things. Again, that's a process of banking. You borrowed money, you make a payment. We're taught to take our money that we work hard for and to put it into the hands of somebody else who thinks they can do better with it than we can. We own 100% of the risk. If I put the money in any kind of stock or an investment, doesn't matter what it is. I'm taught that I have to take risk in order to grow my wealth, and I have to put the money in someone else's hands. That's what we're taught to do. Putting our money in financial prisons like RSPs and locking it up in real estate. Again, not saying that that's bad, just saying that once it's there, it's kind of trapped. It's hard to get it out. But let's think about who's really good at building wealth. Who's really good at making money? Aren't banks really good at making money? Banks are really good at making money. They're good at creating profit. But how do banks make money? Well, banks make money because people like you and I have been convinced that we need to deposit our money there, and then they lend that money out to create streams of payments. But don't they make you qualify? Don't they determine if you're going to be a really good fit and a really low risk and a reliable person to make the payments back to that bank? What I'm getting at is that banks lend money with security. They do not invest with risk like we're taught to do. So there's a minority of people on the planet who are controlling and accumulating the wealth, but yet you and I continue to do financially what the majority of people are doing, and we wonder why we're not getting ahead. It's just something to think about. Isn't that a real head scratcher? So what I want you to do, if what I'm saying to you makes sense right now and you want to learn more about the process of becoming your own banker, make sure you click the link above me. There'll be a link there to one of our pre-recorded 90-minute webinars that will walk you through high level, the introduction, A to Z, the process of becoming your own banker. Where did it come from? Understanding the problem of banking and understanding the solution, which is the process of becoming your own banker, where we capitalize our own policy system or our own system of permanent participating whole life policies. We use that system as a tool to fulfill the banking function. You own the contract, you become a co-owner in the business, you have total and absolute control over access to capital and your repayment schedule. So if you could find a way to become the banker, I mean, think about, there's 4 characters in the financial play. Anytime anything happens financially, there has to be a depositor. Well, you and I are depositors. There has to be a borrower. And again, either you're borrowing money from someone else or you're accessing your own cash, which is equivalent to borrowing because you're either paying interest or you're giving up interest. So there's a depositor, a borrower, there's a banker. Well, the banker sets all the terms. Can you access the money? What's the repayment schedule? What's the interest rate going to be? That's the banker. And then there's the bank owner. The bank owner is the one who's making most of the money in the entire equation, the entire transaction. So the process of becoming your own banker allows you to be in a position to be all 4 characters in the financial play: the depositor, the borrower, the banker, and the bank owner. And you can eventually control the entire financing function as it relates to your needs in your family. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process that's built over time. But the key thing is to learn about it, to get started, and to practice, and make sure you work with a really good coach, someone who's an authorized infinite banking practitioner through the Nelson Nash Institute. So again, Nelson's a link to Nelson's book, the process, or excuse me, Becoming Your Own Banker, Unlocking the Infinite Banking Concept. It's going to be in the post description. I pointed out that webinar link that's above me here. And we also have a wonderful playlist that you can tap into just to continue to arm yourself with good knowledge and learn about the process and determine if it's going to be a good fit for you.